you can create your own abstract phone wallpaper. All you have to do is follow the steps in this video all the way till the end, and then you'll have your own abstract phone wallpaper. Now right here, I'm working on an iPhone 12 size canvas, but in the description, I'll just leave a little list of commonly used phones. But if yours is not in the list, then Google is your friend. And even if the size isn't entirely correct, I'm sure that if you set it as your background on your phone, if it's not the right ratio, then your phone just cut a part off. No big deal. So now just let's get started. I have created a color palette in case you want to use the same colors, but you can definitely experiment with your own colors. Just go for something nice and bright. So let's get started. Like I already said, let's go to the layer menu and let's set the background color. Just tap background color and pick this first color in the color palette. And then we are going to grab a brush. We are going to use the monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy. And then we'll grab this second color in the color palette. If you want to use different colors for your abstract background, then I would suggest just using the color wheel. So set it to disk and then just go around like this, because that way you will find another very saturated bright color, which will look great for your background. But I'm going for a blue and pinks because I just really like that color combination. So we're using the monoline brush, set it to blue or whatever color you like. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can see the edges of our phone background. Make sure that the opacity of your brush is set to 100% and I have the size set to 22%. And now let's just make an abstract shape here and drag in the color to fill the area. Let's do the same over here. And it can be really pretty random. Drag in the color and now go to the layer menu, tap the layer and set it to alpha lock. Now we can paint on these two blobs without painting outside of them. And we are going to do that with the soft brush, which you can find under airbrushing. And for the color, we are going to use this color first, the third color in the color palette. I have the opacity of this brush set to 60% and the size is at 25%. And now let's just add a little bit of that light blue here to the top. And a little bit over here at the bottom. Then we'll switch to the pink color, the fourth color. And we'll add that over here at the top. Make multiple strokes. And then over here, the bottom. Slowly building that color up. Then we'll go to the magic wand here and select Gaussian blur. And then we'll slide to the right on our screen to blur the area, make it a nice smooth gradient. Then we'll go to the layer menu again, tap the layer and then select mask. Now you can see that this white layer mask is attached to our layer, and now that it's white, everything on layer 1 will show. But once we start painting on this layer mask with black, we will start blocking parts of layer 1. And let's do that. We are going to use the soft brush and we have it set to black. You can do that by double tapping here at the bottom in your color circle. And now let's glaze over our little blob and make it more transparent. We're blocking parts with very light pressure and try to keep the edges a bit more opaque. Do the same over here, making rounded motions and slowly blocking parts of these shapes. You can block even more here. Make it very subtle. And then once you have done that, you can make a new layer on top. Just go to the layer menu, tap the plus, and we'll go back to the monoline brush. And again, we will select the second color in the color palette. And now we're going to make another blob on top. And make it slightly different. Make lines overlap. Fill the shape. Over here as well. Try to make it a bit different than the previous shape. Now we can also make a shape over here, an extra little shape, a little shape over here. Drag in the color, and now let's turn on alpha lock. Now you don't necessarily have to tap the layer and select alpha lock to turn it on. You can also slide with 2 fingers on the layer. So slide to the right with 2 fingers and alpha lock will be turned on. And now let's go to the soft brush again. First we'll grab the light blue again, the 3rd color. And let's lighten this area. We are kind of doing the opposite of what we did with the previous shapes. Let's make this lighter now. And let's lighten this area a bit. Then we'll switch to pink, the 4th color in the color palette. Let's add some pinks over here. And some pinks here. Also at the bottom of that other shape. And let's make it a little bit smaller, the brush, 5%, and add a little bit of pink here. Now let's use the Gaussian blur again. So go to the magic wand, use Gaussian blur, slide to the right to blur the layer. And then we are going to add a layer mask again. So tap the layer, turn on mask, still use the soft brush, but set the size back to 25%. And let's glaze over the area again to make it more transparent. This one as well. And like I said, you can keep those edges a bit more opaque, so not as transparent as the rest. And this way we are actually slowly building our abstract wallpaper. Now let's continue and make another layer. So go to the layer menu, tap the plus for a new layer, and go back to the monoline brush and back to the 2nd color in the color palette. Now let's make a nice big shape here at the top, like that, and another bean-like shape over here. And drag in the color and fix this little area. And let's also add a little shape over here and an oval like shape here. Drag in the color to fill these. Now let's go to the layer menu again, turn on alpha lock on the layer either by tapping alpha lock or dragging to the right with 2 fingers on the layer. Then go to the airbrushing brushes again, the soft brush, and let's grab the light blue first, the 3rd color, and let's lighten up this lower area and the side of this one and the top of this bean shape. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller, 9%, to get a little bit more control. Now let's switch to the 4th color. Let's add a little bit of purple or pink over here and on this side. Then let's make the brush bigger again, 25%. We'll add it to the top over here and to the side over here. And now let's go to the magic wand again, use Gaussian blur and slide your pen to the right to, let's say, 35%. Now let's go back to the brush, make it a little bit smaller, 15%. Now add a little bit of extra pink here and on this side as well. Now for the next layer, let's go to the layer menu again, tap the plus for a new layer. Let's go back to the monoline brush, and again we'll go to the 2nd color, and at this stage we are going to add a few smaller shapes. For instance, let's add one over here, and let's make one overlap here and one over here. We'll add a shape here and perhaps a little shape here. Now let's drag in a color. What you can do is drag it in and then tap continue filling with recolor. And then you'll see a little crosshair over here. Drag it into one of the shapes. And then just tap the other shapes to fill those as well. Now let's again go to the layer menu, turn on alpha lock, and go to the soft brush. And let's add some color variety again. We'll start with the third color in the color palette. Add a little bit of blue here, some blue there, and some light blue here. Perhaps here on the outside, here on the left side, and then switch to the pink, the fourth color. Add some on the other ends. So over here, perhaps make the brush a little bit smaller, 8%, and add a little bit over here. And then you can use the Gaussian blur again, slide to the right to, let's say, 14%, and then let's lower the opacity of this layer. The way to do that is by tapping the N next to the layer name, and then use the slider, and let's go to 35%. Now finally, I want to add one more layer, so tap the plus, again go to the monoline brush, and grab the blue, the second one. And now we are going to randomly add a few circles. Just draw a circle, hold your pen in place to make it snap to the quick shape, and then tap one finger on the screen to make it snap to a perfectly round circle. And then you can just color it in and just find a few places that seem nice to add a little circle to, a little ball. So every time, draw a circle, hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, and then fill that circle in by hand. It's often easier than filling the area by dragging in the color because it's so small. And you can make some of these a little bit smaller than the others. Let's add one over here. And perhaps a little one over here. And perhaps a little one here would be nice. Now let's go to the layer menu again, tap the new layer and turn on alpha lock. And then go and grab that light blue, the third color in the color palette. And now let's go and grab the airbrush again, the soft brush under airbrushing. And for the color, we'll grab that light blue, the third color in the color palette. Let's make the brush a bit smaller, perhaps 3%. And just add a little bit of light to the sides. So to the upper right area. And just tap a little bit outside of that circle. And then once you have done that, we are going to lower the opacity of this layer again by going to the layer menu, tapping the N, and dragging the slider to the right. Let's go for 45%. And that's how you can create an abstract wallpaper for your phone, super easy. To export it, you can go to the wrench here at the top and then go to share. And you can share your image as a JPEG file. And then if you're using an iPhone, you can easily airdrop it to your phone. Or if you're using another type of phone, you can email it to yourself or use something like Dropbox or Google Drive. And then once you have done that, once it's on your phone, you can look at it every day. You can show it to your friends and feel proud every time because you have created this. And if everything this channel has to offer isn't enough for you, or if you just want to support the channel and make sure that we can continue creating these tutorials, then check out Patreon, where you'll find loads more Procreate tutorials, awesome brushes, and a great community. I would like to thank you for watching, have fun with your phone wallpaper, and I will see you next time for the next tutorial.